And on today's show, how to use client magnetizing tips for the non-techie advisor. Part one of this week's series on building out your business with practice development strategies with nationally recognized author, platform speaker, and personal coach, Anthony Morris. Hi everyone, I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and contributing author to Innsmark, Life Specs, and Backroom Technician. Let's get down to business. Well, welcome to the show, Anthony.
Thank you, Steve, for having me on.
I'm so happy to have you on again, and I haven't seen you in a long time. And for you who do not know Anthony, he is a major platform speaker. You've been at the NAFA, MDRT, top of the table. You've spoken on 5 different continents. I mean, you are worldwide, Anthony, and of course your accent. For our guests, where are you from?
Originally from Cape Town, South Africa, make my home in Scottsdale, Arizona, and have spoken for NAFA in 43 states in the last 18 months, 50 countries around the world over the last 20 years, Steve.
Not only with insurance carriers, but you are now in investment firms as well.
Absolutely. The money business, the wire business, the clients out there who have these large books of investment accounts where they're not doing enough life insurance and estate planning.
Well, today, we're going to be talking about, and I think it's really a lot of our advisors, our demographics, even for the show, is between 55 and 64. And even though we might have invented the internet, my age group, I don't think we know how to use it, and we're certainly not techies. So I think your title is really great for this show. I want you to walk us through and introduce us into this because your area of expertise is helping business development within our advisory. And I want to be able to figure out how to do this, especially when I don't have the skill sets.
Well, Steve, I marvel at the fact that we've come from the Olivetti golf ball typewriter where we suddenly included the white strip and we didn't have to get high on the whiteout anymore, through Multimate, through this digital technology where there's more technology in this than we used to land the first man on the moon. It wasn't so long ago we had the cell phone. It's like holding a shoe to your head. You had a battery pack in the trunk of your car. As you drove down the road, you would set off the car alarms. Cats would just die from tumors as you drove by. And we've got a lot of that demographic that don't fully understand and appreciate how you can harness simple techie tricks to befriend and intrigue and disturb more of today's consumers who really need quality financial planning in their life.
Now, a lot of our consumers, everybody's kind of getting hip to smartphones, internet use. I mean, we're all over iPads. The technology is huge. So everybody's into the communication age. How do you give us what you think? Because you use this phrase, I've heard you use this before, called brains and bytes. What do you mean by that?
Well, the information and the resources and tools are out there already. It's really a case of deploying them differently to merchandise your uniqueness to people and create a sustainable competitive advantage. So it's out there. You just have to know where to look and how to use what's available, free in many cases.
I want to talk to you about this one thing that you even actually brought to my attention, was kind of new in my thinking, called Slide Dial. What's that all about?
It's a fabulous piece of technology that was invented literally for the life insurance and investment people. If you have a client's mobile or cell phone number, you can dial a voicemail directly into their voicemail box without having to speak to them. So I get your name from good friend Tommy Hegner, who we both know well, as your brother-in-law, saying you should speak to Steve about his financial planning. I can contact you, dial an infomercial directly into your voicemail box, leave you some pithy high-voltage vocabulary, as you so aptly put it, to intrigue you into accepting my call next week or opening that email of tools and resources which I've sent you, which might begin to move you into the interest of having a live face-to-face interaction with me.
Anthony, I think people will jump on this. I think they'd freeze on the issue. The advisor would freeze. I want to use that, Anthony, but I don't know what content do I write? How do I do that? What do I say?
Well, that's kind of part of what keeps me busy. Besides, obviously, platform speaking is sitting and writing the necessary messages, the kind of ebooks and tools and resources which people need. But a lot of the information is actually the kind of thing you would share across the table from me as an advisor, turning that into a tweet-sized message that you would read into a person's voicemail box. And I want to encourage advisors to jump all over this before the politicians discover it, before the next presidential election. Because when they do, let's face it, they're going to outlaw it when they start robo-dialing people's voicemail boxes by the million.
Well, let's go back to this thing, because really one of your highest skill sets is content. And content is king on the internet, online, on communication devices. If I'm looking at content, I'm always trying to figure out, and you said one word I love, how can I disturb my client? That's a really good phrase. I like it because most people say, I just want my client I want to do something that might attract him, might cause him. But you said, no, this is going to disturb him. How do you do disturbing content in a voicemail?
Well, we've got to stop calling ourselves financial advisors, because Bernie made off with people's money, and he was a financial advisor too, if you think about it. So when we start dropping in phrases like paychecks and playchecks, mortality credits, longevity risk in our messaging with people, it kind of sticks in their ear, and they go, well, I don't know if I have mortality credits in my retirement plan. I don't know if I've removed my parents from my retirement plan. I don't know if I have that paycheck and that playcheck. I don't know if I've done an estate directory. So it's critically important that we choose the words which we already use in our phraseology with people and find ways to compact that and really shrink it down to a message in Slido, for example, that can get someone to take the next step, which is to accept your call or to read that email which you've sent them.
We come back from the break. We're going to talk about this idea of the financial key, which helps disturb a lot of the clients and prospects that we're talking about. We'll be right back after the break. It's not how much money you make for your clients, it's how much money they get to keep, especially in retirement. But retirement income could cause Social Security benefits to be taxed. One tax advantage alternative is life insurance designed as a non-modified endowment contract that can generate tax-free income without taxing Social Security benefits. These contracts offer differing funding options depending upon your client's risk tolerance. For more information on how life insurance can be part of your retirement planning, just email me at steve@downtobusiness.tv. Brought to you by Ash Brokerage, the practice enhancement company. Well, welcome back to our second segment. Of course, we're with Anthony Morris. Anthony, before we get into our second segment, I know you're giving away some really quality material to our advisors. Walk us through this real quick, and then we'll get into the segment.
Well, I have a monthly newsletter over here that has got prospecting ideas, client building tools, brilliant uses of technology to get in front of more people, which, let's face it, Steve, is the biggest challenge that advisors face today, is how do I get face time with more people? We've got a month's worth of weekly video sales tips, fabulous, just quick 2-minute ideas about how you can every week deploy yourself differently to get in front of more clients. I have a special report on filling your calendar with clients who write bigger checks. We're all interested in solving bigger problems. 15-page special report, great techniques in there and methodologies. We've got an estate directory ebook, which we'll be talking about how do you use an estate directory to get in front of more clients. And the pressure test, the 60-second pressure test as well. Just a fabulous one-page, 10-question questionnaire that really begins to question the service that you're receiving from your current guy or gal.
Keep in mind, we're going to be talking about the pressure test in tomorrow's show. Go ahead out to his site. It's right on the bottom of our screen. Go ahead, and all these 6 items are giveaways from Anthony Morris.
Absolutely, completely free.
Completely free. Anthony, let's talk about the financial key. This is very strange. Show me this. What is this?
Well, you can go to the company called flashbay.com and you can pick up, they're around about $8 to $10 depending on the bulk that you're buying. What I've termed the financial key. On this financial key, which you could literally carry around as an agent or an advisor on your keyring, if you think about it, Steve, where you could be standing at the soccer, standing at the football, in the pub, at the neighborhood barbecue, someone says, Steve, what do? You say, we help people with their financial keys, which is a lot more intriguing than saying I'm a financial advisor who works with wealth management and insurance, because no one wants to meet one of those, right? What do we have on the financial key? And the great thing about Flash Bay is they'll actually store the PDFs and the tools on here that you want. Here are a couple of things we put on the financial key. The pressure test, which we'll be talking about in tomorrow's show, as you know. Copy of your estate directory, potentially, which we'll be talking about in the show as well. A PDF of a sample financial plan, Steve. Elvis and Priscilla Presley, 5000 Graceland Drive, Memphis, Tennessee, with all of the graphs and the charts which we know about, which people should be using to begin to question whether you've got the science and math built into your retirement and estate planning and wealth creation as well. So a great inexpensive tool which you can use. You can give away at lunch and learns, you could feature it on your website, and you could certainly make sure that you equip your clients with this key when you begin to prospect them and try and get in front of them.
And do they customize it on the front end? I noticed there's different titles on the key.
Absolutely. They'll put your name, they'll put your email address on there, and in many cases, all you're taking is some of the already compliance-approved documentation which your company has, plus your bio, your picture, and introduction to yourself. And it's kind of like a restricted view. Website people don't know where to go on your website, but here you're saying, look at this, check this out, here's some tools, here's some things which you might want to use in your ongoing planning.
Now, do you have a standardized maybe list of content that you want on this from your technical point of view? You know, if you leave it to me or an advisor, we'll go, what do we put on it? What do you put on it?
I would say you would put a copy of your company's estate directory, if you have such a thing, on there. You would certainly put your bio and your picture on there with your team as well. You would put a PDF of a sample financial plan on there. The 60-second pressure test, which is available free from the gifts that I've offered your viewers to receive from us. And possibly a special report, an economic update, something else about the planning process potentially. For example, when we talk about family meetings in the future show, the checklists and agendas for family meetings, those key issues you should be raising with your family to make sure that you never inherit your parents financially.
Okay, now, so if I'm going to use a tactic like using the financial key, and apparently they'll sell it to you in a bulk, you'll get a discount for buying 10, 20, 30, or whatever it is. When I'm using this in the public domain, I'm handing this out. I'm at a soccer with my kids. I'm at a regular, like you said, I'm at a tavern or a pub. I have a wine tasting.
Yeah.
This is where you've seen this, and I like this idea of the key rather than say, I'm a financial planner, I'm a financial advisor. No, I help people, and I have financial keys to their success. I mean, I like that.
Well, absolutely. You know, Steve, if I said to you when you said, what do you do for a living? Sometimes we have to draw people in with a little bit of intrigue. So to be able to say to a person, we help people with their financial keys, at that point, I believe you lose the right to say, oh, I've already got me my financial key from my guy or gal, right? So you say, what's a financial key? Well, Steve, you know that place where you've got absolutely every single piece of pertinent financial information, every password, every bank account, your frequent flyer account, your username and password for your Twitter account, your LinkedIn, your Facebook. How do I open your MacBook or your laptop when you die? You know that place where you've got all that information stored, Steve? You're going to look at me intrigued and confused and go, I don't have that all in one place. Well, here you go, Steve. Why don't I give you our financial key? And if you give me your email address, I'll sure send you some other tools and resources which you need in your ongoing planning. Love to buy you a cup of coffee and exchange some ideas sometime.
You also talk about this thing about using Google Alerts, and these his and her cards. Well, what's that about? Well,
one of the investment companies had a report which is called He Wants to Retire But She Doesn't. And you can Google that and up will come this company's report on retirement planning in the United States. And the fact that most couples disagree on the date of retirement, and most couples, the majority, disagree on the dollars or assets that need delivery on that date. So I took that special report, which is on the Wall Street Journal website right now, and I turned it into a simple conceptual tool called the His and Hers cards. And the His and Hers cards, obviously, pink for the girls, blue for the guys, and there's two questions on there. On what date will the retirement be happening in this house? And what in dollars and assets needs delivery on that date? And it's the greatest way of disturbing a couple at the first meeting, Steve. Because if you get Bob and Molly sitting in front of you and say, Bob and Molly, complete these cards, don't compare notes, you'll find 73% of the time, according to this research, which I picked up through being on Google Alerts, 73% of the time the couple will disagree. And then we've got to get a little bit theatric. We've got to be able to say, ooh, there's a problem here, okay? There's a disagreement. My job is not to sell you some financial product. My job is to bring these two opinions closer together using a detailed retirement income plan.
Well, that's all the time we have for today with Anthony. Remember, before moving forward with any of the ideas on our show, always consult your tax advisor, legal counsel, or your broker-dealer compliance officer. Miss an episode? Just go out to our video archives. And remember, you could be wiser as an educated advisor. I'm Steve Savant. We'll see you tomorrow.